Okay, so we're going to discuss the year 2 operators now. Do you have the year 2 operators pulled up?
I've got my year 2 operators pulled up.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and start off with Jackal, who became one of my favorite ones the one time that we played him. So he's a medium weight class, health 5, run 2. He's got an orange destroy action, which is pretty good. I mean, it's really good. I don't know why I said it's pretty good. So close range, he's got 2 yellow, 1 orange, 1 red. The orange is a cover die. At medium range, he's got a yellow and 2 red. And then at 7+, he's got 2 yellow and an orange and a red. And one of those yellow is a cover die. But the real meat of Jackal is his Inox MK3 ability, which basically means anytime the opposing operators move to or from the upper floor, they receive a location. They receive a ping. And then he has this action. He has 3 actions. From a vertical room or from the upstairs, he can perform a shoot action, which is short range light protection, targeting a located operator in the opposing upper floor area. So firstly, tons of stuff. 1, the fact that he's got an orange destroy is already really good. His gun is pretty much good at all ranges, super versatile. And then the fact that he gets this ability that is just a blanket, like the thing about opposing operators moving to and from the upper floor area is not a reaction. It's just a blanket ability. Anytime operators move to or from the upstairs, they immediately are located, which means somebody can be located and then you can use his actual action to shoot them in the same turn. It's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, he defines the whole game. He messes with the defenders for the entire game until he gets killed, and they're not protected anywhere they are from Jackal, pretty much. I mean, what do you think about him?
Yeah, you've got to be really careful playing against him. This guy, its gun's great. I can actually appreciate more so the fact that with his action, that it does give the light protection, which is good for him because it gets rid of the heavy protection. But also just being as strong as an ability as that is, because he does have the double shoot actions that he could potentially perform. But I do think that it's good that, especially for his short range, that it does have a cover die so that it's not like super overpowered.
Well, 2 yellow and 1 red is still pretty good, especially with a reroll token. I mean, let me just reroll. Roll 1. Okay, well, this is obviously, of course, I got the bad roll. But like 1 damage.
It's an average of 4, so
average
you rolled
4.
1 less.
Yeah. Right
it's
here,
an average of 4. You rolled 1 more. There, you've already averaged
damage.
out.
Yeah, like either you can go from 1 damage to 3 damage, so there's a lot of good options here. 2 damage, yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah. Kind of just good with other stuff too. I mean, if you have another operator who potentially activated before he did, or if he doesn't, you don't activate Jackal until your second activation.
Yeah.
If you can get a drone in, you could easily manipulate how the other player plays. Just drone out the room, mark them, and then threaten the fact that you could wallbang them, have them run upstairs. Now you've got Jackal to activate, and then there's your potential free kill or free chip damage. It is restricted to vertical rooms.
It's not super restricted. I mean,
doesn't seem. I mean, there's more vertical rooms. I believe there's more vertical rooms than there are non-vertical rooms on all the maps, anyways. But
yeah. But you could also be upstairs as well if you really need to shoot someone. There's probably an entryway space somewhere that you can run up.
Yes. So he is better. Him and Caveira have very unique and similar abilities, whereas the fact that he can do it from either upstairs or downstairs is
well, and his
really,
ability
really
is passive, so you can just hold him and you don't. It's not a reaction. It automatically does it as long as he's alive, which is just. Any operator like that you should watch out for. Like that, just have a passive ability like that.
Just keep him on the outside, and then as soon as they run upstairs with somebody, just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go upstairs too now.
Yeah.
And then get that shot.
Okay. We've been talking about him for too long. He's good. He's a good character. Next is Ying, who I've also really liked, but I don't think I've actually gotten a chance to play. You want to talk about Ying?
So this is Ying.
Yep.
She's middleweight, 5 health, 2 run. Yellow destroy, really good short range, even better long range, or sorry, medium range, and pretty alright long range.
Yeah.
So all the ranges good all around. Ying's got her Candela devices, which is a deployable, ignoring a maximum of 1 light wall or barricade. Or she can use it vertically. All operators in the room containing the targeted space receive a stun, except for Ying, if she is in said room. Biggest thing that I'd like to point out with this, it's not electronic.
Yep. So you can do it in a room with a mute jammer.
Unlike Blitz, which they basically do the same thing. So it is good to see some of these operators have their similarities as well as like their differences.
Yeah. You can do it behind a wall first, so the operators can't get a riposte on you. And then you can destroy it, and now everyone in a room is stunned. I mean, there's so many uses for it. You can do it from the upstairs, right? Before somebody goes to go, you could shoot it from upstairs and then drop down and shoot. I mean, it's pretty versatile. A lot of uses.
It's just good too. Like if you are just trying to like solo take a room with her, if you have to, just smoke the room first, then walk in and then do it, and then there you go. Now you've got the rest of your team behind you to come in and secure the kills.
Yeah. With Blitz, you'd have to be restricted to either deploying a space next to you or doing from upstairs. But the fact that she can also just do it vertically is really good. It gives her access to even more areas to stun people.
Yeah, you can ignore a light wall or a barricade, which Blitz cannot do.
So the question is Blitz's shield a good trade-off for Ying's gadget versatility? Or would you just always want to pick Ying over Blitz? Like, in what scenario would you put Blitz over Ying?
I mean, he does have the always to protection.
Yeah.
That Blitz doesn't have any cover die in his die.
That's fair.
So his close range is 2 yellow and 2 orange. His medium range is 3 yellow and an orange. In the recent games that I have played with him, I've been having a blast with him. Having the 4 die guaranteed between short and medium range, to me, plays like a really big part.
Yeah. Like,
just because the die is yellow doesn't mean it's bad. You can get a good roll on yellow, the same as you can get a bad roll on orange or red.
It's true.
If you're playing against a mute, I highly recommend bringing Ying. If you're not playing against a mute, you can go for the Blitz to get that a little bit of extra protection.
Oh, because Blitz is electronic, right?
Yes, his is electronic.
Well, up next is Zofia, one of my favorite operators in the video game. I haven't gotten to play her yet in the board game, but I'm excited. She's medium weight, 5 health, 2 run, orange destroy rating. Her gun is also really good at close range, a yellow and 2 red, no cover die. So that's really, really good. Medium range is also really good, 2 orange, 2 red. One of those oranges is a cover die, but even if you're just rolling 1 orange and 2 red, that's insanely good, if you ask me. And then long range, it kind of peters off a little bit, 2 yellow, 1 red, but still not terrible. And then she's got the concussion rounds. So this is a line of sight. This is kind of like Ash's thing. It's line of sight, ignoring a maximum of 1 barricade, except the targeted space receives stun and sustains an orange damage die. So super good
ability.
So like, for instance, right here, you got Zofia right here. Zofia could shoot through this barricade, could stun and deal 1 orange die, which in this case could be 3, right? 3 damage. And he's stunned.
3 straight damage.
Can't be
with nothing.
Yeah, with nothing. Can't be defended. Now Capcan has 2 health left, and he's not going to do anything. Then you could just totally destroy this and have another one of your teammates finish off Capcan easily.
Yeah, so it's the fact that she ignores. Now she does just ignore the barricade. She can't do, same as Ash. They can't do the light wall, but all the objective rooms, as far as I'm aware, are next to a window or in a room that contain a window. You're gonna have to think about what you're doing on a defensive setup, because especially bringing, just spitballing some characters, Ash, Zofia, and Ying. Well, you can't really play on the site maybe as heavily as you'd like to. There's probably some setups that you could potentially do to definitely not 110% prevent being breached onto, but you could at least try and soften the blow for yourself.
Yeah,
but
I feel like
it's really good to like secure even just information, because just doing it on I think that the ability is worth doing on a hidden operator, even if you don't know for sure.
Because either you deal damage to an operator or you get the intel, right?
Yeah.
I feel like picking a couple people like Ging and Zofia and Ash that could shoot through barricades and soften up rooms, and then you have some heavyweights go in. That could be a good team composition, probably. You know.
Yeah. And most of them, not so much Zofia, but even again, her ability also complements like her ranges.
Yeah.
You know, it's you can get that stun, and you can go ahead and do the damage, and then if you do manage to go in and they don't have the cover, well, you know, if you've done 2 or 3 damage, you're guaranteed a kill. You don't, because you know you've got 2 red that you can roll in that short range. You don't even have to roll it. It's just a confirmed kill.
Yeah. So she's just a really solid operator.
I'll talk about Dokkaebi. I like Dokkaebi. So you got Dokkaebi, middleweight, 5 health, 2 run, yellow destruction. Short range, yellow and red. Medium range, 2 yellow, an orange and red with a yellow cover die. And long range is 2 yellow and 2 red. Very good middle and long range. Her ability is the logic bombs, and she's got 2 ways that she can use this. She's got her wave, which is the targeted operator receives a ping, and then her vertical is remove ping from all operators in your squad that are in the room containing the targeted space. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's been a while, but like I've thought about this. So she's good with that middle to long range.
Mm-hmm.
The bit that I don't like is that, but I understand it, because she, just with her range and her abilities, they are both very, very strong. The issue with her is that if you are going to use her, you need to pick how you want to use her. Do you want to use her for the medium long range damage, or do you want to use her to ping enemies? Is the way that I look at it. But I have thought, so her vertical, you kind of the same thing. It's more of like, do you use her outside of the map to get those lines of sight on your shooting or riposting, or do you put her inside the map so that you can just start marking everybody? So it's kind of just, I guess, depending on whoever else you bring. But just being able to remove all those marks is like awesome. If you find yourself in a position where there's a room with a camera or 2, but it's just not being watched by anybody, you can easily move in 2 people and then send her upstairs to remove their marks. So ideally, I think if you're doing that, you have 2 people go in, but wherever those people started off on your attacker deployment, I would say that it'd be good to have at least a 3rd nearby that you don't activate, that can at least have Overwatch into the space to protect your other 2 operators, assuming that they don't have their Overwatch.
Yeah. You could also just use her, you don't necessarily have to be the other 2, you could use her in the first couple rounds to ping some guys and let your other attackers shoot, and then after you've used both their actions, then you run her upstairs and use her as a way to protect your operators from being located in the late game. So, could do both. I don't really have any other opinions on her because she doesn't really fit my playstyle too much, so I feel like she's good, but I would not be able to use her well at all. But that doesn't mean she's bad, you know? She's got basically Pulse's wave ability, and I suck at using Pulse. So.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it for the attacking operators of year 2. Now we get into one of ours that I think both you and I are super stoked to use, and that's Mira. So she is a heavyweight, so 6 health, no run, orange destroy. So that's already really good, if you ask me. Just anybody that has more than a yellow destroy is very valuable in my eyes. Her gun, she's got range 1 to 3. She has the rainbow, except the yellow is a cover die. Medium range, orange and 2 red, and long range, orange and 1 red. So close to medium range is what you're going to want to use her for, which is good because that's going to complement her ability, which are the black mirrors. So she's a setup ability. Firstly, you cover 1 section of light wall or a fortified wall with a hold wall token. Unfortunately, we don't have hold wall tokens on us on this mod. And then during the game, as an action, if Mira is in a space containing a section of light wall or fortified wall, she can automatically just cover the wall with a hold wall token and then just perform an automatic shoot action through the hold wall. So a couple of things. 1, you can get up to a maximum of 3 black mirrors. if you use the setup and then both of her actions. And 2, she is one of the few operators who can perform 2 shoot actions on a turn, which is a huge deal. I mean, I feel like it's just pretty self-explanatory. Do you have any like things specific you want to call out?
This, as I referred to in, I believe, our first video, is the only defensive hard breacher.
Yep.
That we have.
Pretty much.
And she is probably my second favorite defender after Mute. So, a really good compliment with her is the fact that with her ability, it does change said wall, at least even fortified wall, into an orange destructible wall. That's what hold walls are.
Yeah.
They have the orange destruction rating with line of sight. But the fact that her destruction rating is also orange is, just good in of itself. Now she can, if you maybe have her in a rough spot, she's trapped in a room, and all you have is a fortified wall to get out. Well, there you go. You've got your escape route. But she's good, definitely good. Like with the intel, I do think her ability giving you that free shoot action is really good. If you find a convenient space you can lean out from, so even though a hold wall gives you the light protection, if you at least have the heavy wall next to you, then you've got your heavy protection, so you don't have to worry. She does have a lot of health as well, so it's even good for her just to use the ability on the wall. Maybe you get riposted, but you take 1 or 2 damage, if none at all, and then you can just put yourself in Overwatch, and then maybe you take another 1 or 2 damage, and then hopefully like that would play out for you.
Yeah, I think of like at least on console, there's this room here that attackers a lot of times really like to breach in the console closet because they think it's pretty protected from this right here. So if you put mirror around the stairwell, right, she could put a hold wall token here and watch console office through here, which is pretty unusual for the attackers. With the base box, this room seems pretty safe usually, but now it's not because she could shoot you from behind, and now you don't really have one of those rooms that you're used to breaching through. So the same thing over here as well. You can watch this room and have mirror be protected. So a lot of good options. You could do the same thing with this wall right here if this was reinforced. So at least on this map, there's a lot of cool areas. I'm just looking, I'm seeing a bunch of areas here. Like mirror could watch this stairwell through a hold wall token. There's so many cool areas that she could do on this map.
Yeah, it's gonna, it's a hold wall, so it works both ways.
Yeah.
But it's definitely gonna make some of these site defenses a lot more interesting, to say the least. Like even on this map specifically, probably two of the spaces that I can point out are this wall and maybe one of these 2 walls.
Yeah.
I think this wall, like I already have some stuff in mind. I think this wall is going to be really important with it, because if you just have her here, then you're already utilizing her optimal range. Assume if they're anywhere in the bathroom.
I like this angle right here with the stairs, because obviously people come down here a lot and they can't from the stairwell get into this room, so they usually have to stop here. If you used her ability, she would get a free shoot action like on Ash, and then you could use her second action to get another shoot action, and you'd probably kill whatever operator came down here. Like the 2 shoot actions is pretty good even with the light cover. So yeah, there's a lot of cool setups that you could do with her, except for the fact that we're talking about Legion next, which is another Trapper operator, and so another candidate for my 5-stack Trapper team. You want to talk about Legion?
Yeah. So here we got Legion. He is a middleweight, 5 health, 2 run with yellow destroy. Really good short range with 2 yellow, an orange, and a red. Really good medium range with 2 orange and a red. And pretty alright long range with the orange and a red. His ability is Goo Mines, and it is a reaction, another Trapper. An opposing operator entering a gray entryway space receives a ping and sustains 1 damage. The opposing operator may spend an extra action to ignore this effect. Yeah, this is, the fact that it's a reaction, you just do it whenever an attacking operator comes down, which is good. The fact that they do there's the potential for them to receive a ping is also really nice. I do think it could probably be an easy ability to play around with. I know, I mean, honestly, most of the trappers, they are easy to play around with. You just have to be very mindful of how you're doing it.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. He does have 3, which is really good.
Most trappers only have 2, I think.
Yeah. Most trappers have 2. The fact that he's got 3 is good, because that's essentially that is at least half the entire game. That you can sort of do that stuff. It is very limited with its entryways, but as we've talked about before, with some of the other trappers, just pile on other trappers, and you're guaranteed to do something. I expect trapper comps to use most of their actions just on like the first, if not second turn.
Maybe. I don't know. Something that I noticed is that you can easily tank an extra action in the first round or second round as the attacker if you're taking your time. So maybe saving them for like when it's round 4 and 5 and the attackers need all the actions they can get. But also if they spend their actions in round 1 or 2, I mean, you're wasting their actions. But also if they've mathed it out where they don't even need all the actions on round 1, it can be bad. So it just depends. Something that I noticed is that, a favorite attacker approach is to throw a smoke grenade down an entryway token and drop down so you can get into a sight room that way. Legion would be a good counter to that. So for instance, Ash could not throw a smoke grenade and move down here because she'd automatically get located. And then, if somebody was overwatching, boom, they get shot at. So it's a good counter for that favorite approach, I think.
And it does, if they do spend the extra action, that's good of itself, because now it's kind of like, do you want to continue doing what you're doing? If they decide to do that, I think it ends up just being like a full trade-off. But with the action wasting, it is good if they, sometimes players don't expect it because they're just not thinking about it. It doesn't matter which trapper you're using. Sometimes the defensive player will forget to use their traps, or sometimes the offensive player will forget that there are traps.
Yep.
So it's really good for like the mental game as well.
So you save them, give them a false insecurity, and then spring all of it on them all at once when they at the last couple rounds when they're not expecting it anymore. It pretty much goes right into Ella as well. She's another trapper operator, and she's got 3 Grismont mines, and anytime an opposing operator crosses a room perimeter or enters an entryway space from the upstairs, they receive a stun, and they can spend an extra action to ignore the effect. But she is a lightweight, which is pretty cool. So 4 health, 5 run, yellow to destroy. And her close range is 2 yellow, 2 red. 1 yellow is cover die. Medium range is 1 cover orange and 2 red. And long range is 2 yellow and 1 red. So, she's another operator that just does stun when somebody crosses a room perimeter or when somebody comes downstairs. What do you think about her in comparison to the other trappers?
I specifically, what I like about her is I like the room perimeter crossing.
Yeah.
I do think that's nice, and it is good across all the trappers that they are relatively unique. Obviously, she does share the entryway space with Legion. But specifically, to add to her, she affects the blue entryway spaces as well.
Yep.
Whereas Legion clarifies that it's only gray.
Yeah.
So she's really good at it. If you have a hard time like watching your flanks, she would just be a nice tag along. Because then if you catch it in that moment, you just like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to react to this. So now, because typically what happens with those flanks, they drop down, they get behind you, they shoot, and then most of the time they can like overwatch, or maybe they run to just like get back in cover. But if they decide to waste that or spin that action, well, now they can just shoot, or they can just overwatch if they don't want to risk it to get the biscuit.
Yeah, like this could be a good entry spot that the attackers get a flank from that you could stop, on consulate. This one could be pretty good too. Also, you could pair her with Legion, so they could become stunned and located, and take a damage. Like,
yes, that's a really good thing, because they have to spend both of their actions.
Yeah, and like Cav, because she's a runner and she's got really good close range, she can be a good candidate for dropping outside and dropping behind an attacker if she wants. She's got that good close range weapon. So
get outside, get around any cover that they may have.
Yeah.
And we were wrong. She also has 3 reactions instead of just the 2.
And 3 is good. Yeah.
Very good, yeah.
So both her and Legion, I think, go really well together, actually. All right, yeah, we're almost done with the year 2 defenders. The last one we have is Vigil. You want to read Vigil?
Yeah. We got Vigil here. He is a lightweight, 4 health, 5 run, yellow destruction. Short range, 2 yellow, orange, and a red. It's really good. Medium range, 2 yellow, 2 orange. Still really good. And long range, a yellow and 2 orange.
No cover die.
That's one of the best all-around ranges that you can just have.
Yeah.
So Vigil comes with his ERC 7 rendering cloak. Vigil never receives a ping. And if Vigil is targeted by a shot, the shooter must remove any 1 die before rolling their hit dice. This guy's insane.
Yeah.
Never receives a ping from anything. From drones, from abilities, from being shot at. And then just also combined with the shooter has to take away a die. That doesn't take into account I guess that takes into account that if they are shooting you and you have cover, well, now they have to take away 2 die, potentially.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that gunfight.
No. Well, I'm just thinking, like, in a scenario where Ashe, like, in a really bad scenario where Ashe has, like, only gets to roll 2 red from her 7+ range, and she only gets to roll 1 red. Like, red is a good die, but even that, and if you're behind cover, I mean, you've basically neutered an entire attack, you know?
Yeah, he's got the run, which is super good.
He also has no cover die, which means he's a good choice to contest Overwatch tokens, because you get 2 yellow, an orange, and a red, even with heavy cover, right? That's a pretty solid attack lineup.
Minus that health, but even just he himself would be really good combination with probably Rook.
Yeah.
Just to give him that extra hit point in case he needs it. And then even with Rook, it's almost as if he compensates for Rook not having the run.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
Now
you've 5 health with 5 run with Rook would be pretty incredible.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't think that you want to make your whole team comp anything that like saves you from like dying, but specifically, mentioning that he's really good at contesting Overwatches is great.
I mean, while I've been saying that, I've been rolling 2 yellow, a red, and orange, and I haven't been rolling great, of course, because we're trying to do an example. But I mean, right here, this is 4 damage. Like, just rolling 4 dice, it increases your chances of getting a couple of more damage. So,
except for that roll.
That was terrible.
That was not a good roll.
Yeah.
That was a little bit better.
2 damage is pretty good. Yeah.
I guess too. Now that I'm thinking about it, because he never receives a ping, well, he kind of counters one of the people that we just talked about. He counters Jackal.
Yep. Exactly.
He never receives a ping, which is super good.
He can move upstairs and downstairs freely. He can't get shot at by Jackal from the upstairs or from the downstairs. So, yeah. Well, and he's good against some of the other operators that we'll talk about, like maybe Zero or any of the attackers who can do additional pings or throw additional cameras, things like that. So he's super solid. Yeah. And I think what's interesting about him in comparison as well to one of the other attackers who's kind of similar, Yana, who has to use one of her 3 reactions to not receive a ping. Vigil just straight up never does. So he's even better than Yana in that instance. And Yana is supposed to be the one who's kind of a little similar to Vigil in that way, but he's better than her. So,
yep.
And again, with that 5 sprint, being able to flank around outside, I think is a good application of that ability. Well, that's all of year 2 and year 1. So I don't know when we'll do years 3 through 5, but probably at some point soon. I'm interested to talk about those.